His Excellency Nadir Labayou, Honorable Prime Minister of the People's Democratic Republic of Algeria, represented today by Honorable Minister Soraya Mouloudji, the Minister of Culture and Arts of the Republic of Algeria. His Excellency Wankele Mene, the Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area. His Excellency Ambassador Minata Sesuma, Commissioner for Health, Humanitarian Affairs and Social Development of the African Union Commission and co-chair of the Creative Africa Advisory Group. Honorable Ministers, Governors, and heads of partner institutions, members of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the Creative Africa Advisory Group, esteemed partners, creators, producers, distinguished guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Please allow me to start by extending our profound gratitude to His Excellency Abdelmajid Tebboune, President of the Republic of Algeria, as well as to the Honorable Nadir Labayoui and his government for hosting the 2024 edition of the Canex weekend. And more importantly, for the courtesies and the excellent hospitality extended to us since we arrived here in Algiers. I would also like to thank our esteemed guests, partner institutions, creators, exhibitors, and all participants for setting aside equally important commitments to join us here to share and celebrate Africa's rich cultural heritage. Since its debut 4 years ago, the Canex weekend and the associated Canex at Intra-African Trade Fair have become important events in the calendar of global Africa's creative industry. They have become vital platforms for featuring global Africa's rich and diverse cultural heritage and creative ingenuity. They've served as a springboard for bringing Africa's creative content from the periphery to the center, enabling their effective commercialization and value creation. What started with a narrow focus on music, movies, and fashion has now blossomed and broadened to include sports, culinary and gastronomy, literary arts, and much more. Canex Weekend is an essential prelude to the 4th Intra-African Trade Fair, which will be held in this beautiful city in September next year. The work we do under Canex is an essential piece in the pursuit of a strategic goal, of our strategic goal of transforming African trade for the benefit of our people. The creative industry is fast becoming a potent economic force across most economies. Indeed, between 2010 and 2022, global creative goods and services exports rose by over 130% compared to the 60% growth in merchandise exports over the same period. As a result, UNCTAD estimates the global creative economy to be worth about $2 trillion in size, providing significant revenues for small businesses and employment opportunities for the youth and women. Creative industries also account for nearly 50 million jobs worldwide. Regrettably, Africa's $4 billion from creative industry is less than half a percentage point of the $2 trillion industry I mentioned earlier. And this compares to Asia's share of 20%, North America 26%, and Europe 52%. As with many things in Africa, opportunities in the African creative industries abound, but remain untapped. This is why Afreximbank has adopted a proactive approach to catalyzing the industry. Some 5 years ago, we decided to move away from the euphoric attitude of celebrating opportunities to taking concrete actions towards realizing them. We decided to significantly contribute to making an economy out of our rich and diverse cultural heritage and creative talents. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, over the last few years, we have since then matched our words with actions. We've kept our promises to the industry. From $500 million committed to the sector when the Canex weekend debuted in 2020, we doubled the amount to $1 billion in 2022 as demand for funding grew. Today, I'm pleased to announce a further doubling of our creative industry finance window to $2 billion for the next 3 years. This will enable us to support significant infrastructure investments for film production, stadia, arenas, manufacturing facilities for fashion, and training centers. With this funding, we will be able to expand the frontiers of our intervention in the industry. And because we now recognize that financing needs in the industry extend beyond debt to venture capital and equity financing, we've also responded. A private equity film fund targeted initially at $500 million is under development by Afreximbank'S Impact Equity Fund called the Fund for Export Development in Africa, FEDA. The fund will invest in all aspects of film production and distribution. We thank the members of the Canex Advisory Council, Mr. Boris Kojo and Magic Johnson, for pointing us in this direction, and look forward to their continued support and partnership as we develop this initiative that we hope will propel the rise of global Africa in the global movie industry. We've also approved the Venture Capital Fund to support riskier creative industry ventures across all pillars of our Canex program. And through the Canex program, Afreximbank is nurturing talents and expanding opportunities for Africa's creative entrepreneurs. Specifically, Afreximbank collaborated with the esteemed Nigerian author Chimamanda Adichie and Narrative Landscape Press to host a literature workshop in Ghana recently. Out of over 500 applications from writers across Africa and the diaspora, 20 were selected to participate in the workshop. The short stories crafted during the workshop will be published in an anthology in the very near future. Last year at the Canex at the Inter-African Trade Fair event in Cairo, we proudly announced the launch of the Africa Prize for Publishing. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are thrilled to welcome the finalists joining us here at Canex Weekend, where the winner will be announced. Our most prominent transactions have been in sports and film financing. The first film financed by the bank recently premiered at the Toronto Film Festival, and several other films from Nigeria, South Africa, and Kenya are set to debut on international streaming platforms in the very near future. We also collaborated with the celebrated film producer Mo Abudu in producing a short film that was screened at the Cannes Film Festival last year. The bank also supported the development of the state-of-the-art Houphouët-Boigny Sports Stadium in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire, which hosted some of the African Cup of Nations football matches earlier in the year. With over 2 billion people who watched the AFCON, it was the perfect opportunity for Africa to showcase how it could host the world with excellent facilities, quality of sports, entertainment, and business revenues. To support the music industry, we inaugurated the Canex Music Factory in 2022 in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. This initiative has already created 32 songs with a 12-track album set for release on iTunes and Spotify in November this year. The Music Factory fosters collaboration among African artists and facilitates the exchange of knowledge and experience amongst African musicians. The initiative builds on our successful partnership with Grammy Award winner Vincent Berry II, through which over 300 songwriters from across the continent were trained in songwriting and the business of music. We are also promoting music collaborations across Africa and the diaspora, working with iconic artists such as the Afro-Brazilian band Olodo. I'm glad to announce that the collaboration produced the One Drum extended play, which has been released in all major music distribution platforms, with songs by artists such as the Mali Brothers, Flavor, the Scorpion Kings, and Sophia Zhao, who you just watched.